Was that the rocking chair?
Oh my god!
The chair's moving.
I'm lactose intolerant. You'll have to excuse me.
No. Stop. Go back inside. Go. Ew.
He just, do you see that?
Nope.
Hello? Yo, you see that dude? Look. Yo, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, go.
How would you react if a human-like scream came from the Appalachian woods, or a strange figure appeared beside an empty road at 4 a.m.? Would you investigate or get as far away as possible? This encounter reveals how quickly wild animals can transform a peaceful family outing into a dangerous situation. On a bright afternoon, a family was taking a quiet hike when a bear suddenly emerged from the woods and started following them down the trail. With a young child with them, the adults understood they could not afford to panic. They remained together, made noise, lifted their arms to look bigger, and slowly retreated while keeping their eyes on the animal.
He's following you, babe. Hey, bear!
Hey, bear! Hey!
Holy he's following us.
Oh! Oh! Go!
Okay.
Okay, you guys go up there.
Don't run. Do not run.
Hey! Can we play dead now? Can we play dead?
Griffin?
Following us up the trail has no intention of...
Hey!
He wanted to see a bear.
Running was not a safe choice because the child could not outrun a charging bear, and sudden movements could cause the animal to instinctively chase. Although the bear may have simply been curious, it kept moving behind them and gave the family very little room for error. Their composed reaction may have stopped the encounter from becoming far more dangerous. Do you think the family handled this terrifying situation correctly? In April 2025, a woman named Tyla shared footage from a solo glamping trip deep within the Appalachian Mountains. What started as a peaceful night beneath the open sky soon turned deeply unsettling. While spending time around her campsite, Tyler suddenly heard an unusual sound that caused her to stop immediately. Her dog was usually confident and quick to bark, but this time it seemed hesitant. The animal appeared unsure whether to make any noise or stay completely silent.
Come on, baby. Yeah, let's go. We excited. Okay. You just wanted to be in the video. Say hey. Yeah, because what is that? Let's go inside. No, what is that? Yo, come on. Come on, yo. He came inside so fast. Yeah, I don't know what that was, but we in for the night.
Whatever they heard seemed strange enough that both of them quickly went back inside for the night. Dogs can often pick up faint or distant sounds before people notice them. Still, neither Tyler nor the camera showed what caused the noise. Was it simply an animal hiding nearby, or something they were right to stay away from? A camping trip full of laughter suddenly took an unsettling turn after dark. Just as he was getting ready to sleep, strange sounds began coming from the darkness. On March 25, 2022, YouTuber Grizzly headed out for another camping trip. Known for his adventurous lifestyle and regular outdoor journeys across the United Kingdom, he started the day in a cheerful mood. At first, the trip was relaxed and packed with jokes and laughter. Nothing indicated that the night would become much more disturbing than he had anticipated.
This is my throne here, not the one that I sit on to do toilet. I used to be king of these woods, but I passed it on. To someone else. Can't even remember the name who I passed it on to. Living life. I'm in the woods again today, guys.
However, everything shifted when he got ready to settle down and sleep. Strange noises suddenly started nearby, followed by something he never expected to happen.
Just thought we'd come out for a little bit of a wander in the dark. No, can't see out. Hold on. Pitch black. Oh, sorry. I had some kids earlier just running about, messing about. So if I find them, I'm going to put me my little blue lights on and do this. Walk through woods going woo 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 woo. Come on, mate.
At night, poor visibility can make it difficult to determine where a sound is coming from or what caused it. Was it simply someone moving nearby, or had something unknown come close to his campsite? On September 5th, 2020, YouTuber Phoenix intended to start an ASMR channel centered on wooded trails and natural outdoor sounds. However, his first recording session captured something very different from the relaxing audio he had expected. While exploring, Phoenix entered an area of the woods that had previously been sealed off by a wall. A damaged section of the barrier had left an opening leading into the restricted area. After stepping inside, he heard an unsettling sound coming from somewhere within the trees. Phoenix was an experienced trail walker who frequently ventured deep into the forest, but he claimed he had never heard anything like it in Michigan. Although Phoenix believed cryptids could be real, he decided not to move closer to the noise or investigate its source. Based on the sound's tone, he believed the creature was either injured or responding with anger. Wild animals can produce unfamiliar calls when threatened, injured, or protecting their territory. However, the recording provided no clear way to determine what was hiding in the woods. Was it simply a distressed animal, or did Phoenix make the right choice by turning back? This encounter reveals how quickly a hike through the wilderness can turn dangerous. Kyle Burgess was hiking through State Canyon in Utah when a mother cougar suddenly blocked his route.
Go away! No! 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 No!
For 6 terrifying minutes, the animal followed him while he slowly attempted to get away. Cougars can become aggressive when defending their young. She may have been trying to drive Kyle away, but one wrong move could still have provoked an attack. What would you have done? A cabin with no nearby houses or cell service already sounds dangerous. But what was waiting inside the cabin was even more disturbing. On October 27, 2025, YouTuber Chris Baird and a friend traveled to the infamous Skinwalker cabin, hidden deep within an isolated forest. The location could only be accessed by dirt roads. There were no homes or phone service nearby, while lakes and ponds surrounded the area. The cabin was already known for reports of paranormal activity. Shortly after the investigation began, Chris and his friend found themselves becoming part of its unsettling history.
Alright guys, as you can see behind me, there's a cabin sitting there. This cabin is known as the Skinwalker cabin. We are in an area of the forest that people say skinwalkers reside. A lot of weird stuff happens in this forest, and there's a lot of reason to believe that the owners know about it. We were actually here about 3 months ago. Apparently this is like a little memorial shrine, like for protection. They try to keep this negative energy away, but if you guys only knew the stories, terrifying things. They hear doors slamming at nighttime. They actually have like reports of people breaking into the cabin, and they go check and there's nobody here. You guys want us to come back here? And we're...
To be fair, someone literally was outside the cabin.
We caught
her on camera.
Don't know.
What the fuck was that? That was a tree knock.
That was a growl. You guys always get mad at me when I do this, but...
Oh my god.
That was a whistle back.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Dude, if I had a Big Mac right now, I don't think I'd ever complain again.
Dude. Hello?
What do we keep hearing?
I saw something.
What'd you see?
I don't know, bro. I'm just seeing shadows. Maybe I'm just freaking out over my own shadow. Hello? Alright, Chris, come on. We got this. We can do this.
We're in a trail right now, guys. Look at us. See?
No,
We're exploring trails.
Yeah.
Exploring with trails.
Come on. I'm trying to motorboat you.
Oh.
I mean, motivate you.
It's been so long. Feels like almost like a dock.
This?
But it's like collapsed.
Well, do you think maybe it was something for...
Well, what are you going to shoot at? The fucking trees?
The skinwalkers.
Certainly, okay.
The skinwalkers, of course.
They noticed figures and dark shapes moving among the trees. At first they thought the situation could not become any more frightening, but those sightings were only the start of several strange events that unfolded that night.
Chris, that's a tree knock. There's a stick right there. Do it back.
I was gonna start clapping. All right, guys, we can do that too. Trying to poke your eye out. Came from the water.
Okay.
I just heard you do it. Can you do it again? I'm breaking the fucking stick.
Oh my God!
Something outside then seemed to imitate their voices. Frightened by whatever was moving through the darkness, they hurried into the cabin and hoped the building would keep them safe. It appeared that something in the forest wanted them to leave its territory. However, the cabin provided no safety. Instead, something even more disturbing seemed to be waiting inside.
Where did you guys come from? Like, who summoned you? How did you get here? Summoned.
So, when were you summoned? Can you at least tell us that? What the f was that?
The rocking chair.
Oh my
The
God!
chair's moving.
Dude, I'm like frozen right now. I legit can't move right now.
Someone's like getting dragged upstairs. Don't look at me, you just said. Where are you? In the back?
Echoes and animal calls can sometimes sound remarkably human in a dense forest. Still, that explanation may not account for the shadows, or what happened after they entered the cabin. Were they being warned to leave, or had they walked straight into something more dangerous? In July 2025, C uploaded footage from a trip that was never expected to become unusual. He and his partner had planned a peaceful van camping trip along the Appalachian Trail. It was the kind of familiar journey they had already taken many times before. However, someone in the forest interrupted their normal routine. What started as a calm camping experience soon became a disturbing encounter neither of them had anticipated.
Hey man, this is kind of our camp spot.
This is all God's.
No, that's not how it works.
Understand that the Lord,
We paid for
the
this.
angels up above.
I did not see that. Whoa. Yo, stop.
We milk the earth.
Okay, no,
for all
seriously,
its
stop,
nourishment
stop,
and nutrients.
stop. Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I'm lactose intolerant. You'll have to excuse me.
No, stop. Go back inside, go. Ew.
Remote camping areas can make encounters with strangers feel more dangerous because help may be far away. Was this person simply acting strangely, or did Sir Spence and his partner avoid something much worse? This encounter shows how quickly a wildlife sighting can turn life-threatening. A group of experienced hikers began making loud noises to distract the animal. At the same time, they warned the people in its path to move away from the trail. Those hikers had to react carefully. They could not run, scream, or make sudden movements that might trigger the bear's instinct to chase.
Make noise! Make noise!
Get off the trail! Get off the trail!
No, let...
Get off the trail!
Don't run, dudes! Oh shit! We're next! You're good!
A grizzly bear can weigh up to 800 pounds and reach speeds exceeding 30 miles per hour. During an attack, it can use both its powerful jaws and claws, which may grow as long as 4 inches. The people on the trail were only moments away from a potentially devastating encounter. Running could have made the danger even worse, while remaining calm gave them a better chance of escaping. Do you think the hikers handled the situation correctly? A foggy morning along the Appalachian Trail, a hiker reached Cove Mountain Shelter, a small wooden hut known for its grim history. Years earlier, something terrible had taken place in that area.
As I said, this happened back in 1990. I think I got the date wrong. I just checked my notes. It was September 13th, not July 13th. Like I said, except it wasn't in this shelter, but the other one that was no longer here. But they were, like as hiking, and the drifter came along. So they were asleep. They were fast asleep when he came up on them, and he had plenty of time to plan out what he was going to do. He came up on them. I think he saw that it was a man and a woman, and he had time to think about what he wanted to do. I think he had, he had plans for the woman, so he had to get rid of the guy. So, but they were completely unsuspecting of what was going to happen, and that's absolutely nothing against them. You're sleeping. It doesn't matter what you have or how prepared you are if you're sleeping. But he shot the guy in the back of the head. He had a pistol. Of course, I'm not going to go into detail, but he tied the woman up and did things to her, and then killed her afterwards as well. And I forget, it didn't take too long for people to find the bodies because people use these shelters all the time for the Appalachian Trail.
The original shelter was eventually abandoned and left to deteriorate before it was finally torn down. A new shelter was later constructed nearby, but the stories surrounding the location did not disappear with the old building. Over time, hikers continued reporting strange experiences near the shelter. Some claimed they heard whispers. Others described footsteps when nobody was nearby, or the unsettling feeling that they were being watched from somewhere close. The hiker decided to spend the night to find out whether the stories had any truth behind them. In the end, nothing major happened, aside from a few sounds that could not be clearly explained. Wooden shelters can produce strange noises at night, as wind moves through openings and temperature changes cause the boards to shift. Still, in a place with such a dark history, even a small sound can feel more disturbing than usual. If you were there alone, would you stay until morning? A man was awakened by his daughter after she said she heard voices in her room. Josie Portillo from Mexico woke up at 3 a.m. after his daughter kept hearing what sounded like children laughing near her bedroom. Since it was the second night this had happened, he decided to investigate more carefully.
Pero ¿cómo se van a escuchar risas de niña y hija? A ver, pausale esa madre, amor. Pausale esa. A ver, ven, amor. La verga se me dio miedo. ¿Dónde escuchaste las voces? Pero se escuchan voces.
¿Risas? ¿Cómo se escucha ahorita?
Espérate, Josecho, no te asomes. ¿Dónde más?
Allá.
Ay, vete la.
¿Qué es eso?
Espérate.
¿Qué es eso?
No sé.
¿Qué es eso?
¿Qué verga es?
No te agarra la cámara bien.
No me agarran, no sé.
Nomás la cámara. Nomás mira la cámara porque sin la cámara no se mira.
A la verga.
When he looked through the window toward an open field, the camera appeared to capture 2 dark figures moving across the area. They seemed to fade in and out as they ran almost like human-shaped clouds of darkness. The family was shocked, especially because the voices sounded like children playing at 3 a.m. Nighttime sounds can travel strangely through windows and open spaces, but the figures looked different from the clear objects farther away. What did you think was moving across that field? A woman once took a selfie while hiking along the Appalachian Trail. The photo looked completely normal at first, but after she posted it online, people noticed something unusual in the background. Behind her, a figure appeared to be standing near the trail. It seemed to have antlers, but its body looked strangely human, causing some viewers to wonder whether it was simply an animal. Some believed it could have been a Wendigo or the legendary deer man, while others suggested it was likely pareidolia, when the brain interprets unclear shapes as something familiar. The woman never explained the image, and she appeared unaware of anything in the photo. Most likely it was an ordinary animal seen from an unusual angle, but what do you think? Carrie was riding her horse along a trail on Mount Shasta in California when she heard something strange. She was live streaming on Facebook when several human-like voices seemed to come from nowhere. The sound did not seem to have one clear source, so she followed it farther up the trail. As she got closer, she discovered a group of flower-shaped speakers with solar panels. They produced an eerie sound, but she did not know what they were or why they had been placed there.
Where is that coming from? It's like it's way over there, but it's also right... Oh my god. Oh my god. This is straight apocalyptic. Somebody is summoning something here.
Since night was approaching, she left the area and headed back down. After people online continued asking for more details, Carrie returned to investigate again, even after dark.
There's a mountain. And look at, there is another 100 of them out there. But it's like this Lemurian beacon system. I have no idea. Somebody put a lot of effort into this. This is insane. I guess they're solar powered. This one actually makes sense. The other ones are just white noise. All right, well, we're getting out of here. Stat. Jordan left me.
This time she discovered hundreds of the same speakers scattered throughout the area. While leaving, her camera turned briefly, and a tall, dark figure with glowing eyes appeared to be standing nearby watching them. Carrie and the others made it out safely. The next day, they returned and learned that the speakers were on private property beside government land. Some were playing religious recordings and songs, but they were not synchronized, making the entire area sound disturbing. When many speakers play different audio simultaneously, voices can seem to come from every direction. But what do you think was really happening on Mount Shasta? Two brothers were messing around by their backyard pool late one night when something seemed to sneak up behind them. They were filming a funny fitness challenge in the water, unaware that something from the nearby wooded area appeared to be getting closer.
Day one, little bro trying to train to be a Navy SEAL. Challenge today, go from this side of the pool, from that side of the pool. That'll be noticed by me, and go. You see something? You see something? Where's he at? The hell did he go? I'm scared.
At first, the scare seemed to come only from his brother, who ran in on all fours to frighten him. But after reviewing the footage, they noticed something much stranger.
Day one, little bro trying to train to be a Navy SEAL.
Just before one of the boys went underwater, a pair of glowing eyes appeared beside him. A moment later, whatever it was seemed to disappear from view. Some viewers suggested it could have been a dog, but the dogs were already near the boy who was recording. Animal eyes can reflect light at night, but the moment still felt unsettling. What do you think crawled into the pool? A group of teenagers went into the forest for a weekend trip. After parking their van, they were relaxing when they noticed movement between the trees.
Yeah, looks like. Yo, you see that? Yo, fellas. Yo, what? Yo, look. Holy. Yo, what's it? Yo! You see that? Is that it? Hello? Yo, you see that, dude? Look. Yo, get the fuck out of here, dude. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, go.
A dark, furry figure emerged from the woods. It appeared to walk upright at first, then suddenly dropped onto all fours and began running. The group panicked and fled while one of them recorded the shaky moment. The figure looked strangely human, yet also wild. Camera shake can make movement difficult to judge, but whatever it was, the teens clearly wanted to get away quickly. What do you think they saw? On April 7, 2024, Groovy Gavin, a YouTuber who explores haunted and abandoned locations, posted footage from a trip into the Appalachian Mountains. His purpose was to investigate stories involving disappearances, ghosts, and feral people. At Elk Mount Ghost Town, the visit soon became unsettling.
What is that?
It's a bird, dude.
Oh.
I actually kind of feel bad for the bird now. He was sleeping. Damn, that scared the Jesus.
You think I could take a shit in there?
Probably.
Hello?
My light's freaking out. My light's going on and off. Bro. My light's freaking out, bro. Look at it, it's flickering. Oh, hello? Dude, I'm fucking shaking. Hello? Bro, I gotta figure it out now. Yo! Wait, stop. Dude, I hear something. There's someone 100% in there. There's someone in there. I think so.
Lights started flickering, knocks echoed around the area, and footsteps could be heard. Although nobody seemed to be there, the group kept exploring and eventually chose to inspect one more building. That was when something unusual appeared.
Maybe you could help me out and or just step on that stair right there. Are there feral people out here? Could you just step in front of that, please?
A face was visible in a window where nobody was standing. Moments later, Gavin's ghost hunting device reacted just as his friend's phone light seemed to switch on and off by itself. Old abandoned buildings can produce strange noises when wind passes through openings or aging materials shift. Still, the face in the window and the timing of the device made the footage hard to dismiss. The group left uneasy, and after reviewing the recording, the experience seemed even stranger. What do you think they captured there? A walk through the woods in Silver Point, Tennessee took a strange turn when Daniel Whitehead noticed a dark, upright figure among the trees. He quickly began recording the footage.
Do you see that?
The uploader said the figure resembled typical Bigfoot sightings, but many viewers remained skeptical. Some believed it could have been a prank or someone wearing a costume. When a dark shape is distant and partially obscured by trees, it can be difficult to know exactly what you are seeing. Maybe it was simply a person, or maybe it was something harder to explain. What do you think Daniel saw? A Reddit user shared a still image captured by their Ring doorbell camera. Their home was located along the Appalachian Trail in North Carolina, surrounded by dense forest. In the image, a small upright figure can be seen near the house. The user described it as resembling a little person. As the image circulated online, viewers offered different explanations. Some believed it could have been an animal caught in the middle of a movement, possibly a catbird or another type of wildlife distorted by motion blur. Maybe it was simply an animal, frozen in an unusual pose, or maybe the image captured something more difficult to explain. What do you think was standing near the house? Nikki Dunn, known on TikTok as Dunn Family 2023, lives with her family in the Appalachian Mountains. One night, their backyard security camera captured something disturbing. In the clip, her husband is outside with their dog when he suddenly hears a strange sound coming from somewhere in the darkness. It almost sounds like a woman crying out for help. He calls out to ask whether whoever is screaming is okay, but nobody responds. The footage ends shortly afterward with no additional movement or sounds captured on camera. In the Appalachian region, animals such as foxes, bobcats, or mountain lions can produce screams that sound eerily human at night. So was someone actually calling for help out there? Or was it simply local wildlife? What do you think they heard? While hiking through a remote section of the Appalachian Trail, this person encountered a disturbing sight. Fixed to a tree at eye level was a structure made from animal bones facing directly toward the trail. At first it seemed threatening, almost as if someone had deliberately left it there as a warning. But discoveries like this do not necessarily indicate danger. In some cases, similar displays are associated with morbid or macabre art, where death, decay, and nature are used to create emotion or meaning. Artists, hikers, or locals may arrange animal bones they find as personal symbols, folk art, or ritual-like displays without any harmful intention. Still, there is no way to know exactly what this one represented. Maybe it was simply dark artwork, or maybe it served a personal purpose known only to whoever made it. Either way, discovering it alone on a remote trail would make most people uneasy, especially when you do not know who put it there or who might return for it. While spending the day in the Lone Peak Mountains, a man noticed something unusual moving along a distant slope. A large figure was steadily making its way uphill. From a distance, it almost appeared to be a person, but its size immediately stood out. The figure seemed taller and broader than an ordinary hiker. The Lone Peak area has long been associated with reports of large unidentified creatures, and sightings like this have kept local rumors alive for years. Unfortunately, the man was too far away to get a closer view, leaving the footage open to interpretation. Ann Houghton was very familiar with the Great Smoky Mountains. She had spent years exploring its trails, volunteering her time and helping preserve the park she cared about so deeply. On January 28, 2025, the 73-year-old set out on a one-day hike near the Enlow Creek Trail in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It was a place she had visited many times before, but this trip would become the one she never returned from. She intended to hike for one day and return by January 29th, but when she failed to come back as expected, concern quickly grew. Her vehicle was later discovered parked at Smokemont Campground, and she was officially reported missing on February 1st. Search teams from several local agencies, along with park law enforcement, launched a major search of the surrounding area. On February 2, 2025, at approximately 1:53 p.m., Ann Houghton was found deceased about a quarter mile from the Enlow Creek Trail. Ann was a resident of Jackson County, North Carolina, and had volunteered in the park for more than 20 years. In 2022, she was nominated for a National Park Service Award, recognizing outstanding volunteer service. Even people with years of trail experience can face danger when the terrain is steep-wooded and far from immediate help. Officials found no evidence of foul play. Ann Houghton's death remains a tragic loss, but she is remembered for more than the way her final hike ended. She is remembered as someone who devoted decades of her life to protecting the park she loved. What would you do if someone quietly followed you through an almost empty forest? This woman remained calm, but what happened next left her shaken. A woman shared a disturbing experience from an evening walk in the woods. For months, she had noticed the same man sitting on the same bench almost every day. He never spoke to anyone or interacted with other people. He simply sat there and stared. At first, it only made her uncomfortable, but that evening, the forest was quieter than usual with hardly anyone around. As she walked past the bench, the man stood up a few seconds later and started following behind her. Feeling uneasy, she turned around and walked back the way she'd come. The man stopped, turned around as well, and followed her again. That was when she realized something was wrong. She sat on the bench she had used earlier and kept pepper spray concealed in her hand, ready in case she needed it. The man walked past her and sat on another bench nearby. Then she opened her phone camera and saw him behaving in an explicit and disturbing manner. When he realized he was being recorded, he quickly tried to cover himself, returned to the bench, adjusted his clothing, and walked away. Shaken, she ran and contacted the forest guards. 3 guards searched the area, but the man was never located. She also reported the incident to police, who told her to contact them again if he returned. Maybe he had done this before, or maybe she caught him before things escalated any further. What would you have done in her situation? One night, a Reddit user's trail camera suddenly activated. When he reviewed the footage, he noticed a strange shape beside a tree. Unsure of what he was looking at, he posted the image online, hoping for answers. The post quickly received mixed reactions. Some people believed it was simply a tree stump or natural growth, while others suggested pareidolia when the brain interprets random shapes as faces or figures. A few commenters advised him to return during daylight and take a comparison photo. But one question continued to bother him: if it was only a tree, then what triggered the camera in the first place? At around 4 a.m., a woman was driving alone along a remote deserted road with no traffic lights or activity nearby. As she passed a wooded stretch, her dashcam captured a humanoid figure standing on the right side of the road. Unsettled, she did not slow down or stop. She continued driving and left it behind in the darkness. Nighttime footage can make shapes difficult to identify, but seeing something human-like in such an isolated location would disturb anyone. Was it simply a person standing out there alone, or something more difficult to explain? A group hike on Hawksbill Mountain took an unusual turn when someone noticed a small piece of paper tucked beneath a dead leaf. At first, it appeared to be ordinary trash until they picked it up. The discovery was made in Pisgah National Forest. After realizing it was more than just litter, the hikers posted it on Reddit, hoping someone could identify it. Users quickly pointed out that it resembled a Schuylkill note, a type of printed paper often covered with symbols, dark messages, and conspiracy-style claims. Similar pages have reportedly been discovered for years, especially around Pennsylvania and parts of the Appalachian Trail region. Whoever leaves them behind has never been clearly identified. Maybe it is intended as a message, maybe it is simply meant to confuse people, but finding one quietly placed in the woods would make anyone wonder who left it there and why. While hiking through the forest, this person noticed something unusual ahead. A red light appeared above a dense cluster of trees slowly rising from within the canopy. It remained steadily glowing for several seconds, bright enough to stand out against the surrounding woods. Some viewers believed it could have been a distress flare, but flares typically rise much higher and burn much brighter before disappearing. Others suggested it might have been a drone or another man-made light source, although no sound was reported and no distinct shape could be seen. In the end, no explanation was ever confirmed. The user recently described an experience after spotting the brown mountain lights from Wise Man's View. Beneath the overlook was a steep drop, while thick wilderness extended for miles into the darkness beyond it. According to the user, more than 15 bright lights appeared across the mountain. They also mentioned that the lights were visible in places where no known roads are thought to exist. The Brown Mountain Lights have been reported for more than a century, with some of the earliest published reports dating back to around 1910. Over the decades, numerous witnesses have reported glowing or moving lights in that same area. Some people believe the lights could have natural causes, including geological or mineral-related activity. Yet after decades of sightings, no single explanation has been universally accepted. Perhaps there is a simple reason, or maybe this remains one mystery the mountains continue to hold. What do you think caused those lights that night? In 2001, Louise Chaput, a 52-year-old woman from Quebec, headed to Pinkham's Grant, New Hampshire for a weekend escape. She stayed at a lodge near the Appalachian Mountain Club Visitor Center, looking forward to a peaceful time in the mountains. During her visit, Louise went by herself on a brief hike along the Lost Pond Trail, whose trailhead was located directly across the road from the lodge. However, by the following Monday, she still had not come back. After receiving no word from her, Louise's family contacted local authorities and reported her missing. A search effort was soon carried out throughout the surrounding area. Sadly, on Thanksgiving Day, Louise was discovered along the trail. Investigators concluded that she had sustained severe injuries as a result of an assault. To this day, no suspect has been named, and the case remains unsolved. Far inside the forest, a man came across something that looked strangely unnatural.
I see this thing. This thing is... What is this? What is this?
It was a rectangular formation constructed entirely from tree branches. The branches had been carefully layered and interlocked, making the structure appear unexpectedly sturdy. Nearby, several rocks had also been arranged in a way that seemed intentional. There was nothing about the scene that appeared accidental. After filming it, the man chose to leave. Perhaps someone had constructed it by hand, or maybe it served a purpose he could not figure out. Where do you think made it? One night, someone was out walking their dog when they spotted something strange overhead and started filming. High above them, a ring-shaped object appeared in the sky. It seemed nearly perfectly round, with lights lining its outer edge and forming a glowing outline against the darkness. No one ever confirmed what the object actually was. Late one night, a family heard a loud noise outside and went to see what had happened. When they looked toward the sky, they noticed a bright light glowing behind the clouds and immediately started filming. The footage was brief and no official explanation was ever provided. So, what do you think they witnessed that night? A late-night backyard alert prompted this homeowner to check their security camera. What appeared on the screen was tiny, unusual, and difficult to believe. From the darkness, a small, strange-looking figure slowly entered the yard. Moments later, a dog spotted it, and the footage ended before anything else could be seen. Certain details in the clip seem unusual, making it more likely that it was AI-generated or heavily edited. But if the footage was genuine, what do you think passed through that yard? This image was captured at 7:02 p.m. by a motion-activated game camera on a remote ranch. The photo appears to show a human-like figure with what seemed to be heels visible beneath its feet. According to the uploader, the camera had been placed near the remains of an old homestead on the property. The land is privately owned with restricted access, and the owner stated that no one resembling the figure had ever been spotted on or around the ranch. No footprints were discovered, and no definite explanation was ever provided. So did the camera catch an unexpected trespasser, or was something else passing through the property that evening? One night, while looking up at the stars, a man captured something unusual in the sky. Several mysterious lights could be seen traveling through the darkness. They did not resemble normal stars or conventional aircraft, and their movement appeared controlled and strangely out of place. After the clip circulated online, viewers began offering their own theories. Some believed they might be UAPs or even UFOs, but no official explanation was ever provided. The origin of the lights remains unknown, leaving viewers to decide what they believe was moving through the sky. A photograph taken in 2020 was recently rediscovered, but the person who captured it could no longer remember the reason for taking it. When he showed the picture to his girlfriend, she immediately became uncomfortable. In the image, a strange face seemed to be visible above a chair, almost as though it were watching. What made the image even more disturbing was the location where it had been taken inside her childhood home. The person who posted it said he does not believe in paranormal activity, but the photo unsettled him enough to ask people online what they believed it could be. One possible explanation was charred wood, or damaged material reflecting sunlight at an unusual angle. Hopefully, that was all it was. That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.